brothers, but not by birth. Family, but not by DNA. David and Adam are two of a kind, and they wanna borrow some of your day to talk into your ear holes about midi-chlorians and roller coasters. Those two things are unrelated, but so are they. They're unrelated at birth, like most people who aren't related. Unrelated at birth, but they're brothers in a brotherly way. Now it's time for the phenomenal brother and the golden voice of the South. They're brothers from different mothers, but they're both really proud to be unrelated at birth.
All right, PSA here. This is we're doing a new little twist on shows.
Yep.
This is going to be the first one you hear because of timing issues, and it needs to be done first. But it's the second one we've recorded. So really quick, you're going to hear a long intro on the next week's episode about what we're doing. I have a new studio. We're getting our basement remodeled. I don't have a dedicated studio. It's hard to find time to record. So we're recording 3 or 4 back to back. We're doing them shorter because it's hard to find time to record when I don't have a studio and girls are asleep, and our main floor is basically just living space and a living room. The entire downstairs is being renovated, so I have no dedicated space to record.
Yep.
And it's cold outside, as you saw if you saw the live video last week. But the other main reason is because we know that you are not driving back and forth from work to home to a grocery store to whatever. Well, maybe you are. You'll find out why in this episode. So we figured we'll do some short episodes while we're in the middle of this lockdown, this crisis, this pandemic, this whatever have you. We are going to be making shorter episodes. So as always, I am the golden voice of the South, the human jukebox, the Dave Adams, coming to you live and in living color from the top of the state of Alabama in Madison, Alabama, because like Madison, I'm on top of my game. And I have brought along my friend, the phenomenal brother, the goofy looking Adam Russell. All the way
if you were on Zoom, I did make a goofy face. He's correct.
Yeah. All the way from the middle of the state of Florida, the sleeping mouse, St. Cloud. Actually, he's not sleeping because y'all just released something today that you're releasing, that y'all done at Christmas time, that there's a hotline you can call, and Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, and Donald, I think, are all telling kids good night.
Yeah, you can choose your character and they'll do a little message. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so he's not sleeping. He's actually working pretty hard right now.
He is. I'm telling you, harder than anybody else. Hardest working mouse in show business.
Is he?
The hardest working mouse in show business?
Yeah, hardest working mouse. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. All right. So Adam, this is you, man. We're just going to jump in. We're just going to jump into it. So, what is the topic of the week? Why is it timely?
The topic of the week is going to be the Rona again. And this time I want to dive into something and kind of vent a little bit and get your thoughts on something, Dave.
So I need to say this. Okay. Remember last week's or 2 weeks ago's episode, because we did take a week off, where Pastor Paul, made a very, very big statement. Don't live in fear.
Yeah. I haven't even made my point yet.
Okay. Just that's the thing.
Sure. Yeah. So there are articles starting to come out, and I know a lot of it is database. I know a lot of people are making decisions, but there are a lot of articles coming out now. And the one that I pointed out to you, which gave us the idea for this conversation, is that I'd have to pull it back up, but it sounds like a majority of the state of Alabama is going to start reopening sooner rather than later, and that's coming from the governor.
Mm-hmm.
And it includes essential, non-essential, all of that designation's kind of gone. and that social distancing needs to be continued, but things can start to return to normal. And I think that's a bad idea, personally.
Why? Well,
I
okay.
think that.
So let's go
Go ahead.
into it.
Okay.
No, let's
I'm
get
ready.
into it.
I'm ready.
Why is it a bad idea? What makes it a bad idea? And aren't you tired of being in your house all the time?
I am tired of being in my house all the time. For the most part, yeah. But that doesn't mean I can make a bad decision that might impact other people negatively. I am not one that thinks this has to go for months on end. I'm not one that thinks we need to have any type of national registry or any of the extreme measures, but I am one that relies on statistics for a lot of stuff. And what I see is it's still 3 days until the projected peak in deaths for Alabama, according to the IMHE projections, which is what the White House uses. And that's 13 deaths a day. And that will trend down over the end of April. And then by May the 12th, you should have 0. So I think my point is, why not wait until that number is 0? Why not wait? If the projection has dropped, why not just hold off and do a slower reopen until Alabama's is 0 and Montana's is 0? Then they can do something. Then Colorado can do something. Because what's going to happen is, because you showed me an article too, that Florida is also going to start reopening.
You're taking my fire.
Go ahead and share your article. Retort back at me with what you've got then. Go ahead.
Okay, so your text to me was, look, you idiots are doing it again.
I didn't say idiots.
You did say,
come on. We have a lot of Alabama listeners, and I did not call them idiots.
You did say y'all are the ones that's going to do it again, aren't you?
Yeah, I didn't say idiots. That's much different.
In an idiotic tone. Idiotic tone. You are the one that's been very accusatory of y'all stay up there in your Alabama. Y'all stay up there.
No, I'm talking about everybody. So go ahead and share the article, and I'll retort back to your retort back.
So you in this article, it says Alabama's going to open up beaches May 1st.
Florida.
They're going to do what?
Yeah, Florida or Alabama?
No, yeah, Alabama will open up beaches May 1st. By the way, I didn't mention this in the episode. You're going to hear banging. You're going to hear Audio Veritas. They're working on my office below me. So Alabama's going to open up beaches May 1st, open up restaurants with social distancing May 1st. May 15th, they're going to allow people to start moving around freely. So we're not totally reopening the state until May 15th. So I would say that Alabama is doing what you were saying to do, but you made a point to win it. The whole article is Alabama is opening up the beaches May 1st. That was the biggest thing. The beaches, the restaurants with the 6 feet social distancing.
Thank you.
Okay.
Everything.
But the beaches is the main point. That's where a lot of people are going to congregate. I had to get up and stand up because I've been sitting down for a while. But a lot of people are congregating. So I would say, I think that's actually a good thing. Let people get out. But your article was saying, your point of that was, dadgummit, Alabama, what are you doing? Well, as we're starting to record this episode, I pull up an article off of MSN. It came out of the Jacksonville Sun, I believe. Let me see. It came out of the Associated Press, which is out of Jacksonville, Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida gives the green light to open some Florida beaches May 1st.
Yeah. And I don't think that's a good idea either.
You also aren't for opening up your employment, are you?
Honestly, at this point, no. And I'll tell you why. The decision they make, I don't have any input into that. Just FYI, full disclaimer out there. But the problem is once you tell Alabama, and I'm going to use them as a proxy because we don't have any other articles from any states that we've pulled up before we record this. Once you tell Alabama, hey, it's good to go. Social distance, wear a mask, but it's good to go. And Jacksonville opens, and Panama City opens, or any other beaches along the Panhandle open, where are all of those people going to go that have been cooped up in their house for weeks or a month? They're going to shoot straight down to the state of Florida. And then they're going to take whatever they get here, and they're going to take it back to Alabama or wherever they came from. And it's not.
You forget Alabama. Hold up. You forget Alabama has pretty beaches. In fact, Alabama's beaches are better than Florida's beaches.
Okay.
So
So
I
somebody all the way over in Troy is going to come down 231 to hit 10 to go across to Orange Beach. No, they're going to shoot straight down 231 to Panama City is what's going to happen when they start majorly reopening beaches. And if we all start to do that now, I don't have a problem if restaurants impose 50% limits on seating. I don't have a problem if we slowly start to reopen. I still think that we can set a tentative date of May 15th. But to say that it's definitely going to do that, and that article said some things were April 27th, 29th, somewhere around there.
No, not Alabama. Alabama's May 1st.
Okay.
But Texas is
allowing. That was Texas.
Up.
That's right. No, it's Texas. You're right.
Texas is allowing surgeries, so taking away medical professionals, allowing surgeries to go on April 22nd.
I can get behind that because a lot of hospitals are having to put people on furlough. You got a lot of hospitals right now, they're letting people go because they're on such low census because they've shut down everything except focusing on COVID-19. I don't have a problem with slowly reopening your hospital capacity because if you have to put somebody anywhere in this, I would rather be in a hospital than anywhere else, honestly, because it should be the cleanest place on earth. Doesn't mean you're not going to get it, doesn't mean anything bad wouldn't happen, but your chances are better there than in a restaurant, bar, nightclub, arcade, beach, anywhere else right now. So the problem I have with it, Dave, is if you, again, let me get back to this, but if you go to the stats, it is the peak resource date was supposed to be today, and statewide for Alabama, you guys only need 329 beds on that day. So your number is dropping pretty fast. But the number of deaths per day is expected to stretch all the way out until early mid-May, somewhere around there. And
so that's the last
May 1st being the date. Well, death is I'm using deaths as a lagging indicator. So if you have 0 deaths on a day, that means that your infection is probably way low before that happens, right? Because deaths is the 2-week lagging indicator in this whole thing. So if I see 0 deaths, that means the infections is potentially way down of tested people, of people who have symptoms, blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't mean it's gone, and it doesn't mean it's not going to spike again. And once you let everybody just go back to some semblance of normal, human beings cannot responsibly handle that right now. They can't.
Hold up now.
We've been pushed into such on a grand scale, human beings cannot be trusted with anything, man. They can't. That's why you have to have government. If people could be trusted with stuff, everybody would fix their own roads, everybody would do their own thing, and you wouldn't have to have government. So government allows things to happen on a grand scale, and it is the Alabama government's decision. It's their prerogative to open whenever they think. I still think May 1st is too early, because what we learned in 1918 with the Spanish flu, and no one can sit here and tell me, well, we're so much more medically advanced than we were then, because hey, 100,000 people around the world have still died from this with all the medical technology we've got. We're still 12 to 18, shorter than that now, probably 8 months away from a vaccine with all the technology we've got. We still haven't figured out exactly which medicine is the best to treat this with all the technology we've got. And to say May 1st is a day where April 22nd to do surgeries is one thing. May 1st to just let everything open back up so that one guy in Hoover who was going to open his haircut place doesn't have to worry about getting arrested. Well, the dude was literally sitting there. I heard about it 2 days ago on Rick and Bubba, telling the sheriff, I'm going to reopen and there's nothing you can do about it. The sheriff begged the guy, please don't make me. He did an interview on the phone with Rick and Bubba, and the sheriff asked him, please don't make me do this because you know I've got to. I don't have a choice. And he said, you do what you got to do. People cannot be trusted with this. And as soon as you reopen it, and the thing that gets me more than anything with this, man, is it's the Republicans and the red states doing this, forcing the issue. And I'm telling everybody right now, and I don't usually get political on this, but if anybody within the sound of my voice thinks Donald Trump should be reelected for a second term, if you reopen too early and there's even a tiny spike and 50 more people in your state die, I don't care if your base is 5,000 or 5 million. They are going to blame it on him, and you're going to cost it, and Joe Biden's going to be the next president. I'm telling you right now. There's more at stake of this than I'm just tired of sitting on my butt at home. If you truly think that he is, I don't know that either one of them are a good option, to be honest with you. But I think that Trump has done a passable job with this. I don't know that Biden or Hillary Clinton could have done any better. We'll never know the answer to that question because we are here at this moment in time that we're in. And if the Republicans and the Christians and all the conservatives in this land don't stop begging to be let out of their house and force this issue, if they don't stop, it's going to cost us more than that overall. Because just a tiny spike and the whole thing's blown. So I just think that May 15th, I don't have a problem with May 15th for the state of Alabama because you're projected not to have any deaths a week before that. But I think it should be just like someone can't be let out of quarantine until they've tested negative for 24-hour periods. That's when you can be released from the hospital. You should not have any deaths in your state for a week, and then you can start to reopen some stuff. Now, in the short period when you see the downward trend, can you do a little bit like maybe you could open up back to surgeries or things that you can't do today that are necessary for the people to really live their lives, like dentists and things like that? Sure. But restaurants, beaches, athletic events, none of that stuff needs to go back that early. It just doesn't. Or else there's going to be a spike. And even if it's tiny, I'm telling you guys, they're going to make the numbers spin however they make the numbers want to spin. Because numbers you can make look anything you want to. And they're going to lie on you guys. And they're going to say that the conservative Christian right is the reason that these extra 1,000 people are dead. And all our credibility has gone out the window, not just politically, but for the gospel of Jesus Christ to be spread around this country. Can I step off now and let you talk?
No, you can keep talking. I hate that.
That's it. That's my point.
I hate that you put that last. Okay. I love that you put that last point on there. Let me rephrase how I was going to say this.
I know what you're saying.
But I hate that you did that because as soon as you were talking about this is the GOP's fault, this is the red state's fault, I saw an article. Whitmer says she hopes for some relaxing of stay-at-home orders May 1st. Do you know who Whitmer is?
He's the Michigan governor.
She is.
She's who everybody's trying to recruit to be Biden's VP. Yes, I'm well aware.
Do you know who? I was going to say. Do you know who? What party she represents?
Yes, I do.
She is saying that she thinks it's okay to open up May 1st.
Okay.
So it's not a GOP. It's not a red state. It's not well, I don't know if she's conservative Christian or not. But she says that, let's see, George Stephanopoulos pointed out to Whitmer that Ohio Governor Mike DeWine said Thursday he wants to start reopening the state's economy May 1st. Whitmer said that working together does not mean that Midwest governors will act in lockstep, but that she does think that her state, she says, I do hope to have some relaxing come May 1st. So she wants to relax the stay-at-home order.
Okay.
So it's not just your GOP. It's not just your conservative Christian red state. Let me ask you this. So you said Alabama, deaths will be over May what?
First week in May. So
Okay.
I'll word it like this. So this new IMHE, is it IMHE? IHME thing says that on June the 1st, the containment strategy should be successful because, well, no, that's Florida. Hang on. Alabama, May the 18th, the containment strategy, because you will have been a week or two at the 0 deaths, that a containment strategy at that point should work. And I'm cool with that. I'm totally
so if you
cool with that.
release
That's
Alabama,
tracing and testing and I'm not talking about releasing though, because once you start releasing, everybody's just going to go back. It's got to be defined, and I'm not looking for more government overreach, but I'm talking about when people read that article, everybody's going to say, wow, this is almost over. But in 1918, everybody said the same thing with the Spanish flu, and then in the fall, it killed more people than it did in the spring. The main reason was when we won or got the armistice signed in World War I, everybody ran out of their buildings, and everybody ran out in the streets, and everybody went and celebrated. Nobody's sick from this anymore. We can go out and celebrate because we just won a war, and then everybody died from it, mostly in the fall than in the spring. And this could do the same thing. And I just don't know yet. But it's not worth it. It's not worth it to be able to go to the beach. It's not worth it to be able to go to the beach. If one extra person
should a Christian live in fear? Should a Christian live in fear of this?
I'm not living in fear of this. What I'm living in is looking at the fact that the projections say middle of May. No deaths happen. There are still people out there that have this. And I'm just making sure everybody understands that if you reopen in that time frame, more people are going to die. This is not going to be over. It's just fewer are going to. than if we had fully reopened everything. But more are going to if we had just let this go out until, mid-May, late June, somewhere in that time frame. I've always kind of held June 1st out there as a milestone. That if we could get some semblance of normal back by June the 1st, I think everything would be okay. But as soon as the numbers go down, and as soon as a bunch of people block the streets in Michigan around the courthouse, or the mayor's building, wherever she works over there, as soon as people really start to protest, she starts to cave to that too. But you know what? If you're looking at this from a political perspective, if there's anybody out there that wants Trump to be reelected, every single Democratic governor that acquiesces to the fact that they can reopen sooner is good for your chances to get your president reelected. So let Whitmer do whatever she wants to do, because if she's saying reopen sooner, that's admitting that this is actually going really well. But then if something spikes in Michigan, it's her fault. But if any red state reopens too early and there's a spike in that state, it's going to be like, see, Trump said you could do it and you went and did it, and look what happened to you. There's a false positive and a false negative that you have to think about with this. And if she does it and it works out well, that's a positive. If she does it and it doesn't work out well, that doesn't necessarily go back to anybody but her. But everybody out there that wants this dude to get reelected has got to take this slow and got to do it methodically and not go crazy with this, because half the people that read that article, Dave, are going to say, hey, everything's reopened. And they're going to go out and do exactly what they were doing before. And I'm not talking about Alabama. I'm talking about every state that's going to do that. I'm talking about Michigan, and I'm talking about Florida's beaches. How are you going to socially distance on a Florida beach? How are the police going to maintain that? Please stay 6 feet away from each other. Never mind that the wind on the beach blows like 20 miles an hour, so my cough now travels a mile. It's just, there's just no way. There's no way. And I feel like that's too early. And I feel like for anybody the reason I lean on the conservatives a lot on this, Dave, and I talked it briefly with your pastor when he was on the other day, is that you've heard nobody else saying that this is ridiculous, this is a hoax, this is wrong, this is all being done so the Constitution could be trampled on. The only people who have been saying that have been a small group, not a small group, but
it's the Tea
one
Parties.
Group out of many. And it's the typical concern. And I'm telling you, the credibility is going to go right down the toilet if this doesn't go well. So I feel
unfortunately, it's the deep state people.
I mean, and they have loud voices, and they represent everybody because nobody else speaks up. And that's why I wanted to I was glad we had your pastor on the other day, because he has a voice, and his voice was one of reason, not fear, but reason. And I agree with the reason side of this. I don't want to live in fear of this. My reason tells me that if we open this up too soon, we're going to have a repeat of the same thing. We're all going to be back doing this in 3 or 4 months. And man, isn't that going to stink, because then there really will be no football. Our kids won't go back to school this calendar year.
Dear Lord.
So I just want to take it slow. I think that May 1st is way too early, personally, for anything to try to read at that scale. So
I'm okay for May 15th. I am, because that's the day I'm supposed to be down there. But anyway,
well, that's Alabama. See, that's what I'm talking about. You're looking at Alabama's date and saying, see, I'm going to be down there in Florida now. Everybody in the sound of my voice, as soon as everything's open, please don't come right down to Florida. Please, because you're going to bring what you got down here. And then if you don't have it when you come down here, you're going to take it back with you. Stay where you are. Even when everything reopens, stay where you are for just a good month or so. And let this thing die out. Let the weather get warm, and let's see what happens with that.
That's the thing.
Congratulations,
the weather
you
getting
can go
warm
eat at your local
won't kill
Chinese
it.
restaurant again. But we don't know that. We don't have to studies say it will. Half the studies say it won't. Nobody knows that for sure.
It's already warm in Florida. It's 90 degrees. You told me the other day it was 90 degrees in Florida. Your dad said it was the hottest he'd ever seen in March or in April, the 1st of April. Mm-hmm. So it's hot. It's not going to get much hotter. And you're telling me that it's that hot weather kills it. So why is it not okay to come to Florida?
I said we have to wait to see if hot weather kills it. Florida does not have a lot of Florida is only 10% of the people that test with symptoms are positive. So Florida is actually in really good shape, comparatively speaking, considering how many more people live here than all of the states around us.
Hot weather kills it. There you go.
I mean, I just what's going to happen is as soon as they do it, and I hope that a lot of the places like Disney, a lot of these large scale entertainment venues have some type of demand management policy. I really hope they do, because as soon as they open up, everybody's going to spread out from where they are and go to everybody else's place, and then they got to go back to where they were, and they're going to bring it back or take it there. And that's the whole reason we're wearing masks and doing all this other stuff, is to keep other people from getting it if we don't have symptoms. And it's just, if everybody starts moving around again, it's going to spread again, man. And we're all going to be shut up over the summer, and there is not going to be football, and there is not going to be Christmas or Thanksgiving get-togethers. And I would personally rather sit in my house, able to go down to the Chinese restaurant and sit next to somebody at a table if I want to, but choose not to. And I'll still do takeout, but I would still not do that, because I would rather have Thanksgiving and Christmas than have baseball back right now, to be honest.
So you're two things.
Sure.
I want to ask you. So
I've talked.
You're not a small business.
Please have more than two.
Yeah. You're not a small business owner, right?
I am not a small business owner.
Okay. So
are you a small business owner?
No, but
Okay.
I have friends of mine who are hurting right now.
Okay.
So the guy who's defiantly saying, I have to open, he's about to lose his livelihood.
Okay.
He can't do anything. But if he opens, he has a shot.
Okay.
So
Can he get hair if he's in jail?
They'll fine him. They don't arrest him. It's a misdemeanor.
Okay, so he's got money that he's going to pay now for that. They're going to fine him every day that he stays open.
But he will lose his job either way. So I don't know. Hey, we're about to have a guest on our show. Say hi to Mr. Adam. This is Harper.
Hi, Harper.
She might not be able to hear because of my headphones, and I think she's sad.
Oh,
But Mommy's not letting you watch Mickey. I'm sorry. Well, why don't you stay here and you can hang out with Mr. Adam and I for a minute, okay?
we just going to talk.
Yeah. But anyway, the point is he's going to lose his livelihood.
Yeah.
If he stays open, if he closes, he has to at least try to do something.
So
and if he can try to,
yeah, go ahead.
if he can try to do something by opening, then who's to say, that something, he might get some money, he might make some extra cash that he wouldn't have a chance to make the extra cash.
No, I can understand that argument. I think the timing is everything, though, honestly. And I mean, a high contact business like cutting hair, it's not the time for it. I'm sorry, dude. And I hate to say it, but you chose the wrong business, just like a lot of people who work for Disney. We chose the wrong business to be in when something like this happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. It's we took a gamble. We didn't know it was going to be a gamble, and the gamble for a lot of folks isn't paying off. But what I would say to that guy is, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, render unto God what is God. And God put us under the governments we're in, for better or for worse. And unless they're asking us to do something that's not ungodly, we are supposed to follow those laws.
Okay.
And we are all sitting here collectively as a group cheering this dude on who's going to defy the man and stick it to the government who's trying to overtake our rights in defiance of what the Bible has told us to do. And I get it, but why, instead of having to reopen his business to step in to do something and break the law, why does the church step up to help this guy? And then this is something we texted about the other day. The fact that the government's having to send out stimulus checks, and hey, I'm spending mine, sucker. Let me tell you right now, the government rendered unto me what was mine.
And right,
I bought,
we both bought stuff.
Let me tell you. And so, but at the same time, those who are struggling right now, those small businesses who are struggling, should not have to look to a central government for help. They should only need to look toward the church that they're a member of. And a lot of churches are stepping up in ways you don't hear, and I'm not saying that they're not. But that dude should not have to worry about putting food on his table, or shouldn't have to worry about keeping his thing going. If we're talking 2 weeks, we're talking 2 weeks, to the end, from the middle of May to the end of June, we're talking a month and a half from now. And if no one can step in to fill that gap for that 5 to 6 week period for that guy, what does that say about what all of us are doing right now?
I agree.
I mean,
we're saying
that whole aspect,
there are people
we could spend an hour just on that, but
yeah, there are people who are staying home with fear. But so if you say, okay, May 15th, Alabama's safe, let Alabama go. You know what Alabama will do? Disperse.
That's what I'm saying.
When is Florida's drop dead? Drop dead's not the right word.
That's a wrong term.
when is
man.
Florida's absolute zero?
Absolute zero is projected to be May 25th. Well, it's still projected 0 to 1. So absolute drop dead is June 1st. June 1st is the point at which this website says a containment strategy that includes testing, contact tracing, isolation of people who are sick, and limiting gathering size. So the beginning of this time frame is determined by when they estimate that COVID-19 infections drop below 1 per million people in a state.
Okay.
So my thing is if Alabama, like I said, if Alabama wants to reopen on the 15th and have everything go, but you're still distancing, no restaurants are at full capacity yet, no movie theaters are really doing a lot yet, that type of stuff, that's fine. But it's the dispersion that makes me nervous that you're talking about. It's that they're not going to stay in Alabama. They're going to go to Tennessee and Georgia, and they're going to go down to Florida because the beach is open. And now you
I ain't going to the beach.
What's that?
I ain't going to come to the beach.
You hate the beach anyway. But what was 1 per 1 million people in Alabama, because that population now moves to other places, takes that 1 per 1 million data in Florida and pushes it out. And then they go back to Alabama and they push out Alabama's data. I think that there should, and I'm not saying the government should say no interstate travel, but if we're basing states reopening off of when their 1 per 1 million number is, and that date's different for every state, I almost think you got to go with the least common denominator. And if Florida is the last one and it's June the 1st, you don't go outside of your place until June the 1st should be the recommendation. And I think that he ought to have, that DeSantis ought to have exactly what he's got on I-10 and 75 and everywhere else of saying you're not coming into Florida without an absolute essential need until June the 1st. Because we don't want you crap down here. We don't want you to take what we've got back. It's good for you guys too, you know? So I think you have to go with the least common denominator when you talk about truly reopening. So,
okay. I don't agree. I think that it's time, because not only are you looking at a downed small business, we're looking at our economy. The United States economy can't handle much more of this. I mean, both of our companies that we work for, their stock went from hard to buy to shell out a couple of bucks. Now I'm using,
of course, you're exaggerating.
I'm exaggerating a lot, but went from one of the best moving stocks on the stock market to now Disney and Boeing are just like, let's buy a couple of them right now.
Yeah.
So both the companies we work for need the economy back up. Disney needs the economy of people coming to their parks. Here's what I propose, Adam. And I think Disney can be on the forefront. You and I talked about this last night. Disney can be on the forefront of what to do and how to do social distancing. Maybe not social distancing, how to do theme parks right.
How to do anything right. Because if you can do it at scale of a Disney volume, you can do it anywhere.
Half capacity. You're still making money, but you're not right now. This is now the longest stretch that Walt Disney theme parks have been closed, ever.
True, ever.
Yeah. Half capacity. And I'd be okay with wearing a mask. If you're not taking a picture, mask has to be on.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, whether you're talking about a theme park or a restaurant or anything else, I think that for a while, whether your date's May 15th or June 1st, we may be able to get out of the house if you choose to, but nothing's going to be normal for a while. And I don't think it's going to be normal until we know this thing is gone. But that's where some of these medicines that have started to come out. Hey, let me tell you, man, I just want to wrap by saying this. I get the optimism. I get it. The numbers are lower than we thought. The social distancing, America freaked out so much. Basically, we all freaked out so much that we flattened the curve like almost into oblivion. So good job on us. But
yeah,
there's drugs out there now too. This remdesivir or whatever it's called that is showing promise, and the company that makes that, their stock is going through the roof right now. Every day that we do this is a day closer to a vaccine and all of that. And I get everybody's optimism. I just beware the second spike. That's my only point, is just beware the second.
There could be a second spike, and there might be.
Because it kicked our butts in 1918. It was actually worse and turned that Spanish flu pandemic into a 2-year ordeal. Now, granted, that's where 2-year ordeal is where they didn't have vaccines. They didn't have the medicine we have. The 2-year thing, yes, it's not going to go for 2 years. I don't think it'll be like this. But we cannot just, hey, the numbers are low and people are getting irritated, so let's just reopen. I don't think that's the way it needs to happen. Just beware the second spike. So.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll end it with this. All you anti-vax, yeah, mine too. That's why we're ending it. All you anti-vaxxers out there, Your fault. All right. So I'm kidding
somehow
on this
Dave,
one, but-
somehow Dave in 7 or 8 words was much more controversial than I've been for almost a full half hour.
All right. So, Adam, if they wanted to give their take on why we should open the economy May 1st, how do we do that?
Yeah, I would love some calls on this. I would love to know where everybody's at, where their head is at on this. And
We won't be able to play them for a couple episodes since we're.
Yeah, but I mean,
we'll play them on lives.
On a live, we could get it out there. But I would love to know people's opinions, even if you want to tweet or do the socials that we'll share in a minute. But the number is 650 UAB show. If you want to share your opinion, rant there and share if you think, should we reopen? Should we wait? Where's your head at on that? Or anything else you want to talk about. 650 UAB show, or hit us up on the socials. Dave, where can they find us?
On the Twitter, we are Not Related Bros, at Not Related Bros. I am at DAdams419. He is at Runtide Run. Instagram, DAdams419, Runtide Run, and Unrelated at Birth. Facebook.com/Unrelated at Birth. Join us on the Unrelated at Birth fan club, listener group, whatever you want to call it. We also have a Patreon. You don't have to. We don't ask for it, but we're just saying, if you want to give a little bit, cool. Every little bit helps because this is a labor of love. We love this. Patreon.com/Unrelated at Birth. Guys, I think it's time to open. I think it's time to start moving around carefully, but still wash your hands. Say your prayers. Eat your vitamins, brother. But guys, Adam, take them home.
Yeah, guys, we love you, but not as much as Jesus does. Be kind to each other, especially now more than ever. Wash your hands and stay at home until June 1st.
May 15th. I'll give you May 15th.
All right, awesome. Okay. So we're within 2 weeks of each other. That's the closest we've ever agreed on something this controversial ever.
May 15th will be pretty close to each other, actually, if I have my way.
Do not come down here on May the 15th. That's a topic that we'll take offline, Dave. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to us rant. Give us a shout. Let us know what you think. Bye, guys.
Bye.